Okay, we're going to show you how easy it is to assemble a side panel for your refrigerator or freezer. These are the footers. The short one is if you have a very short base, less than 16 inches. The long one is for a longer base, 16 inches or more. And if you have a short base, you're going to end up using both of these in the cantilever model. Now that's our post segment with a little prong at the bottom, and they fit into the slots that are at the top of that footer. So you see how the prong goes in there? That's where you fit the posts together, and that's the base. And you can pick one of various positions for this. It depends on what this inside space of your freezer looks like if you're trying to avoid some kind of protrusion in the middle. So let's say we start here, or maybe we want to go there, but most of the time you're going to be in one, okay? That white object that you see in the picture, we're pretending that that is a protrusion at the back of the freezer. So you're looking at the sidewall that we're building with two posts. So think of this as the left side wall. Where I'm standing is at the front of the freezer or refrigerator. So what we're doing is we are, just like Lego or Mechano Erector, we're not using any tools. We're just plugging the post segments together. And they are made of steel, very strong. They have an anti-corrosion coating on it that is designed to work well in a frozen or cool environment. Even though it's damp in there, this is going to be well protected. And then as we build it up, you can see that the post segments fit together. Now, what I did right there, I just want to show you, is I didn't quite get the post segment into place. So all you do is move it until it is in place, and it clicks. Actually, when you know it's in there, you'll be able to tell that it's there. So you're trying to make these posts vertical, of course, but also parallel. So there is no distance that's different. It's not leaning one way or the other on either side. And we're going to be getting the tape. Remember, we gave you a roll of tape to be able to use for various purposes, and this is going to be one of them. I'll show you in just a second. Obviously, this is a mock-up, but we just wanted to show you so you could see it easily. And you could practice this actually if you wanted to this way, but it's really not necessary because you can see how easy it is to do this. Anybody could do this. And once we reach 8, we've decided 8 is what we need for this particular application. But if you have a shorter height, you could maybe use 7 or fewer. That's why the beauty is it's modular. So here comes my tape. Just put it on loosely. It's masking tape. Do not wrap it around. Don't try to get it perfect, because you want to be able to easily take it off. And make sure that the two pieces of tape do not overlap, so you're not, when you pull one off, you're not pulling off the other one. So we've got the two post segments straight up and parallel. Now what we're going to do is deal with the header and the stabilizer. So the stabilizer is on the right, the header's on the left. And you can see there's some other parts with it. There's two black, what we call loose prongs on that one that we're holding in the picture. There's two black loose prongs that are in there. You'll see what we do with those. And then you can see again that these are universal design. Now these are the spacer bolts, and they go in the square holes. And the spacer bolts have a square section under the head. See that? You turn it a little bit till you get it squarely in the square hole. So it's like a locking system. Same thing with the other one. You put it in the square hole, and you turn it a little bit until the square section under the head fits into the square spot on that stabilizer. And that stabilizer is going to be at the top. Now we're putting a washer on each of those stabilizer bars. And now we're going to screw on a nut. And everything is finger tight. Do not use a wrench. We don't want you to use any tools on this. We want it to be finger tight so you can easily remove it, but also so it's not going to be on there so that you can't take it off easily. So we're just putting those nuts on until they go all the way up, in this case, to reach the washer. What we're holding, what he's holding there, is the stabilizer, which is going to be at the top against the ceiling, and you'll see how that fits together. Now here's the other parts. There's some more nuts and some more washers. So what we're going to be doing is fitting those two stabilizer posts, those two stabilizer bars really, to fit into the header. They're going to go right into the header below it, and they're going to line up perfectly. So first of all, you put on a nut. In this case, you put the nut first. But you're going to put it up about halfway, because you'll see why. You're trying to space the stabilizer from the header so that it fits up against the ceiling of your fridge or freezer. And you'll see how we do that in just a minute after we insert it. Now, your choice. You can assemble this stabilizer and header before you do the side panel or after you do the side panel. It doesn't matter. Sometimes people like to get them done in advance so that once you get the post up. Now, see how we're putting those two posts into the square slots directly below, and it's just loosely sitting there. Okay, we're not putting any more nuts or anything else there. You'll see why we're doing that in a minute. But it is now perfectly aligned. And then what we do next, because those bolts have a header on them that are sticking out, see there? We want that to be protected so it's not rubbing against the ceiling of your freezer or fridge. So what we give you are anti-slip silicone pads with an adhesive backing. So you take the adhesive backing off, and then you pick the sticky side, of course, and you put that on top of the head of the bolt. There it is. So this is going to cushion the stabilizer against the ceiling of your fridge or freezer. Okay, so make sure it's lined up, properly like that. Now it's all nice and snuggy, because what you're going to do is just gently position it up against the top of your ceiling. Now what we're going to do is show you how it fits onto the top posts. And we've just bringing it over, and you can see there they are. Now the two black prongs that we showed, this is how we're attaching the header to the posts. So now with those posts in place, line it up, and then tighten that nut a little bit, just a little bit against the top. Now you're going to position the prong into that hole, into that slot down. So now it's locking the post against the header. Perfect. And now it's pretty stable. Now this is the maneuver. This is called ratcheting. So you're moving that nut, and one on each side. And if you keep an eye as he's doing the nut turning, see, it's pushing up against the ceiling. So the more that you turn the nut, the more it's going to turn this. And those black pads will be pushing up against the ceiling of your fridge or freezer. So you keep turning those until you get a snug fit against your ceiling. So just turn those and those as much as you need to, and it'll keep pushing up. You can see tilting on the top there as he pushes one and then he pushes the other. It tilts that top, that stabilizer, and it's going to get it closer and closer to the ceiling until you're happy with how close it is to the ceiling. You want it snugly fitting. But do not use a wrench, because if you use a wrench, it will actually put too much pressure against your ceiling and will actually cause a bending below, and you don't want that. So you want to make sure that's just finger tight and then snug against the ceiling. Now, if this were in your actual fridge or freezer, it's not going to move because it'll be snug. And then you do the same thing against the other side.